Welcome to the Stopping to Think podcast. I'm your host, Will Dole. Thank you for listening. This is not a typical Stopping to Think post or podcast. I'm planning this year to restart some of my story writing efforts that I've made stabs at in the past, and I'll post some of those in this feed as they will in content, if not in style, fit in with a lot of what I normally do in this space. I'll touch on a lot of the same subjects. However, this little story is one that I submitted to the Dole Weekly, a newsletter that my oldest daughter has occasionally put together in our home. Weekly perhaps being somewhat of a misnomer. She graciously accepted this submission, and it was originally published in that outlet in 2023. I retained the copyright, however, and now share it with you. It is, as noted above, a silly story. From Will Dole, title, The Skunk. It was a cold and rainy November morning in the Sandhills of western Nebraska. School started at 8 a.m. and I had to check my trapline before school in case there was any skinning to do. If I had enough fur in my traps, I might be able to talk my dad into letting me skip school to skin racoons and muskrats all morning instead. Who needs another history lecture anyway? This particular morning, I ate my oatmeal and was out the door by 5:53, which was better than my goal of 5:55. Those 2 extra minutes come in handy when you have to pedal your bike through the mud while wearing hip waders. I didn't have anything in the first 2 cubby sets I made along the north bank of Spring Creek. Then I crossed to the south side of the creek and checked 3 footholds that I had at places where trails entered the water. Still nothing. After I'd passed 10 more unsuccessful sets, I finally came to my last set and was just praying I hadn't been skunked. I came around the corner, checking a cubby set I had made right where the creek flowed into the North Platte River. Well, I guess I didn't get skunked. Or to be more accurate, I had been skunked. There was a great big double-striped skunk held firmly in place by the number 2 victor that was guarding the entrance to that cubby. Needless to say, I wasn't quite prepared for this scenario. I walked slowly up behind the trap, hoping the furry friend wouldn't see me and spray before I thumped him in the head with the branch I had in my hand. It was all going well. I'd closed the distance from 25 yards down to about 6 feet. I was just going to take one more step before I took a swing when I heard him hiss and lift his tail. I had never run so fast in my life, but it sure didn't matter. I was so covered in skunk essence that the teacher sent me home from school and wouldn't let me come back for a week. I was hoping this would mean some extra fishing time, but it's supposed to snow tomorrow. This story is loosely based off of things my grandfather told me, or my pack told me, back when he was alive. He grew up in the Sandhills of western Nebraska when he was a boy and ran a before-school trapline. So I just tried to imaginatively place myself there, getting covered in skunk essence on the way to school, which he probably still would have considered better than having to be at school. In any case, this has been the Stopping to Think podcast. I'm your host, Will Dole. Thank you for listening.